almost human brain, Electro the robot.
Ah, the underappreciated television remote control. I know you have one, probably more than one. And while you might think that this device has transformed the way we create engaging content in the modern era, it's the TV remote that's had a more massive impact. The remote control solved a real consumer problem. To change the channel in the old days, you had to get up, walk over to the TV, and turn the dial. You had to overcome couch inertia, which is very difficult. Until 1950 and the world's first remote control. Aptly named the Lazy Bones, this weird remote allowed one to succumb to couch inertia and change the channel as long as the remote cable was long enough. But not much changed. Remember, there were only 3 TV networks, so your choices were very limited.
Captain Frank
Over
Drebin.
the decades, we got wireless remotes with more buttons, and in 1988, something spectacular happened. Something that would transform the way we program television networks and create engaging video content forever. And it's these lessons that we learned in 1988 that might just save virtual events and webinars from, well, from sucking. Hello, and welcome to The Loyalty Loop. I'm Andrew Davis, and today we're going back to 1988, where we'll learn 3 television programming strategies that contributed to the success of some of the most beloved television shows of the 1990s and 2000s.
Sure.
And I'll show you how to apply them to your virtual event programming so we can save virtual events. Quick reminder, this is the 3rd in a 4-part series where we're rethinking virtual events. We're looking at how to make them more profitable, successful, and engaging. So if you're interested in making your virtual events better, make sure you subscribe to the Loyalty Loop right now at bit.ly/loyaltyloopers. And if you missed the first 2 episodes, I suggest you go back and watch those first. So, what happened in 1988 that's so relevant to today's very different media landscape? 1988, 38 years after the invention of the remote control, is the year that over 50% of American households controlled their televisions with a remote. By 1990, just 2 years later, 80% of American households had one. Now, the majority of Americans could wirelessly control their TV with the touch of a finger. And right about the same time, cable television was exploding. Gone were the days of just 3 major networks. By 1990, cable television boasted 79 networks like CNN, The Weather Channel, MTV, VH1, A&E, Cinemax, TNT, and even HBO. And it's the collision of these 2 phenomena that transformed the future of all content creation. With so much content on so many channels and the ability to change the channel with one little finger, content creators found themselves in a bind. So, if you were watching The Golden Girls and the show got boring or they went to a commercial, click, you could see what was on ABC or Fox or 77 other channels. Yep, you could channel surf. This posed a huge problem for content creators and TV programming executives because they knew that if you changed channels, you might never come back. 'Cause Madonna, right? So, network executives got smart. They invented a boatload of strategies to keep us watching their networks, to stop channel surfing and keep you glued to their shows. These strategies have great names like stripping and stunting, tent poling and bridging, and they work. Without these strategies, shows like Friends and Seinfeld, Cheers, Family Ties, Fresh Prince, NCIS, Law & Order, and a lot more might never have survived. Now, I'm going to introduce you to 3 TV programming strategies that will have the biggest impact on your virtual events. Unlike an in-person event, virtual events don't have a captive audience. Instead of a remote control, your audience has the entire internet at their fingertips. So your goal isn't to keep your audience from channel surfing, it's to keep them from surfing anything else in the world. Number 1, hot switching. Now imagine you have a brand new show called Friends and you want to give it your best shot. Now if you're NBC in 1992, you have a hit sitcom called Mad About You. And Mad About You airs at 8 p.m. on Thursdays. Mad About You is called The Lead-In. It's got a massive audience and you want to keep those viewers on your network to watch a show they've never heard of.
Poem as well?
So you hot switch from Mad About You right into Friends. Hot switching is where you eliminate any pause between the end of one program and the start of the next one. You get rid of the normal commercial break between the lead-in and Friends. Hot switching immediately gets viewers involved in the next show before they're tempted to change channels. Virtual events do not need breaks. It makes no sense. You're inviting your attendees to surf and never come back. Instead, hot switch between each session. Kill your breaks, keep your attendees engaged. By the way, this is how Netflix pioneered binge watching. They hot switch to the very next episode before you have time to pick up the remote. Number 2, hammocking. Let's say you have an amazingly successful show like NCIS and another top performing spin-off, NCIS New Orleans. Now, you have a legal drama called Bull that you know the NCIS audience should like, but Bull isn't performing very well in its current time slot. What do? You use hammocking. You insert the underperforming Bull in between your two highly rated shows. Audience flow will tend to bring up the new or weak show. So, instead of having an opening keynote and a closing keynote at your virtual event with half a dozen weaker sessions in between, embrace the idea of hammocking. Number 3, stacking. Whoa, wait. Before I tell you about stacking, I want you to know that all 3 of these concepts are rooted in one simple idea that so many virtual events miss. I'll explain that in just a moment, but first, back to number 3, stacking. In 2018, ABC decided to put Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, and How to Get Away with Murder all together on Thursday nights. They called it TGIT. And they marketed Thursday nights to women 18 to 49. And it was a massive success. This is called stacking, when you program a number of shows consecutively that have a similar audience appeal. When it comes to a virtual event, stacking all your sales sessions or your marketing sessions or your leadership sessions into one block, stacking them is a much smarter way to ensure you keep your audience engaged for longer. Okay, so there's one giant misstep virtual event organizers are making that TV embraced years ago. And by my estimation, less than 3% of organizers are embracing this simple concept. But before I unveil this golden nugget, next week we're going to look at the future of virtual events on the Loyalty Loop. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you do subscribe so you don't miss it. bit.ly/loyaltyloopers, and I'll make sure you get a copy of my new virtual event engagement ebook as soon as it's ready. Look, the goal of a TV programming exec is to keep you watching their channel. You need to do the same. Keep attendees glued to your event. Every engaging event I attended in the last 9 months did one thing others didn't. They dumped their multiple tracks. They created a single track event using one live stream that kept attendees glued, just like a TV programming exec. All right, my friends, I'm gonna sit back in my Barca Lounger and watch some 1950s TV. I'll see you in next week's Loyalty Loop.
Dispose of this captain video.